Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ and Friends. My guest today is Eydie Desser from Garden of Eydie, and she is going to talk about how foods from the garden cured her high blood pressure and more. And she's going to be making a perfect holiday dish and an alcohol-free rosé, not rosé, but rosé.
Hey,
Please welcome Eydie back to the show. How have you been?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be with you, Chef AJ.
Well, thank you. You are adorable. We saw each other just this past September, was it? In the
It was
Plant
at, yeah, the Plant
Conference?
Nutrition Project, and then you were going to see the 102-year-old doctor. How is he?
Well, he's actually only 101,
Oh,
unless,
101.
and so his birthday, his 101st birthday was yesterday. Yes.
Oh, it was yesterday. So how's his hip? Didn't he fall?
Yeah, I left the Plant Nutrition Project early because he was having hip surgery. He's doing great. I mean, this guy is amazing.
He is amazing. He really is.
Absolutely. I was hoping to have him on for his birthday, but he was too busy partying with the people.
So he
Yeah.
actually is in his 102nd year.
Yeah, he is in his 102nd year. So he's supposed to be speaking in September at a plant-based conference in Las Vegas that I've been asked to host. And so he will be almost 102 then.
Amazing.
It is
Amazing.
amazing because he eats foods from the garden like you.
That's it.
Yeah. So what is a perfect holiday dish? But of course, maybe tell your story because viewers might not have seen you the last time you've been on.
Okay, so um, when I got married, well, before I got married, I was in my 30s and I was in straight commission sales and radio in Dallas, Texas. And one day I was driving and I felt like my heart was going to explode, like explode. So I called my doctor and I said, Dr. Gross, I think my heart is about to explode like all over the car. Like I really do. And he says, well, come right in. So he put me on the treadmill and he says, wow, you're just as strong as a Dallas Cowboys football player. I used to run a lot. And he says, let's take your blood pressure. And it was super high, like really high. I don't remember. He didn't tell me what it was. He says, oh, you have high blood pressure. It's genetic. I'll give you a pill. I said, what, like for a month? And then it fixes it? And he says, no, for the rest of your life. And if you don't take it, you're going to have a stroke and die. So I took the pill. I called my dad. I said, Dad, I have to take high blood pressure. I'm like 35 years old, 36 years old. He says, what's the big deal? Because he had been taking it since he was in his 20s. And it's not a big deal. You just take a pill. Well, I did not like taking the pill. It made me hard to, it made it hard for me to work out. Long story short, he had to change the pill several times. And then I was on the pill for many, 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 many years. And then when I moved to California after I got married to my husband, Ed, later in life, um, you start to learn a lot when you live in LA, like yoga. I started doing yoga and they talk about health and I also had gone to the French Culinary Institute and gotten a Grand Diploma. I quit my career. It was too stressful in my 40s. And I decided to go to culinary school in New York City, where I was living at the time. And just because I wanted to learn how to cook better, I just really wanted to learn the techniques. So I went through a whole 8 months at the French Culinary Institute and earned my Grand Diploma. And Ed liked my cooking so much, he asked me to marry him. In the meantime, we moved back to LA, where he's from. And I started taking lots of different cooking classes. And one of them was from Ruby, ROUXBE.com. And they had a plant-based cooking show, a cooking class. So I took that class and I learned about True North Health and how they reverse digestive issues, if you know what I mean. Like I was stopped up big time. And so I went to True North because I learned about Dr. Clapper on this course, and I went to True North Health, and he helped me fix my colon, my lazy colon. Apparently, I had a lazy colon. And that's because I went down a rabbit hole in LA, and we won't go through all that. But we fixed that. But while I was there, I learned they could reverse high blood pressure with the water only fast. So I went back a few months later and I reversed my 178 over 115 blood pressure to 98 over 60. It's been 9 years, no pills, just plants. And then I joined the board of the Plant Nutrition Project, and that's the plant-based physicians teaching doctors around the world the power of food as medicine. And I joined that board. That I was asked by Susan Benegas, who started it, and I wanted to be part of the mission. And I just didn't know what to call it. I was going to teach cooking, plant-based cooking. And I said, I have an organic garden. My name is Eydie. I'll call it Garden of Eydie. And that's how Garden of Eydie was born. That's my
That is
short
so
story.
cute. I love that story. Thank you.
Yes. And I have my husband who's the carnivore living in the Garden of Eden. And we talked a little bit about that last time too.
Yeah. What was your doctor's first name? Because I had a Dr. Gross in LA.
He was in Dallas,
Oh,
Dr.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So that must
Dallas.
be, well, that must be a common name
He
then.
was such a nice doctor. Come right in. I don't think you'd have a doctor do that today. Come
Oh
right
my
in.
gosh. Oh my gosh. So what are you doing for the holidays?
So I love, people always talk about what are we going to eat if we want to stay plant-based and healthy for the holidays? What can we do before we go to a party? Well, one thing you can do is ask if you can bring a dish. And this dish is so healthy. And let's get to it. I'll show you what it is. It's called forbidden rice. We're going to push this back a little bit. Forbidden rice. It's black rice. Have you ever had it, Chef AJ?
I love it. It's so
I
good.
love it. And it's so much healthier than white rice or brown rice because it has, first of all, a lot of antioxidants, the anthocyanins, that dark color, vitamin A. It's really great for blood pressure and for everything in your life. But I love it because it's kind of chewy and nutty and it's just, oh my gosh, it's so delicious. And it's beautiful, this black rice. And to this, I'm going to put the 4 P's. We have persimmons. Do y'all know about persimmons? There's
They're
2 different types
fantastic.
of persimmons. We have the fuyu, which is like a little apple. It's hard. It can get a little soft, but you don't want it to get too soft, but just a little soft. And then I dice that and it's really, really delicious. Or the haichia. These are the like pear shaped and you want them to get really soft. And I love just to take the flesh out and freeze it and eat it like a sorbet. So healthy. Have you done that, Chef AJ?
No, so these are the soft ones. I like the hard ones better.
Well, I love these frozen. It is so good frozen. So that's our tutorial on
Have you
persimmon.
ever had them dehydrated?
But I like the juice. I like the hydration.
That's funny. I like dry food. You like moist
Oh,
food.
you do? Even though we are the same birthday almost. 1 year apart, 1 day apart. I'm
Oh,
older. Okay, so we're gonna add this beautiful persimmons. This is the hard one, the fuyu. So you can see how pretty this is gonna be. And then the next P are pomegranates. And we know how healthy that is. So this beautiful red, jewel tone red. So you can see how beautiful this is getting already. And we're also gonna add a little lemon juice and some lemon zest. And also, I like to add chives. So I've chopped up a whole bunch of little chives here, but I also love texture. And this green makes it even more beautiful. So a lot of chives. And then what I like to do is when I was went to the French Culinary Institute, we got a chance to volunteer at the James Beard House. And so there's the sous chef there. I had to shuck oysters, believe it or not. That's what I wasn't plant-based in, but I shucked a lot of oysters. You know how hard that is on your hands? But anyway, he said he is the master chive chopper. So he showed me how to chop chives perfectly into little tiny, tiny things. So I've already done that. But what I also like to do for everybody, I like to cut longer lengths like that, and then some even longer, just for the texture and the beauty of it. And it really does make it beautiful and tasty. Now, this is what I love to do in the plant-based world, is make a salad dressing without oil, salt, and sugar. And how do we do that? I don't know how I came up with this, but somehow I did. I have half a pear, and I took the seeds out, and I peeled it, and I poached it. So you just put it in some water to cover. You bring it to a simmer for about 10 minutes until it's soft. So I'm going to put this pear in. It's kind of viscous, kind of like oil in a way. It's slippery. So that's kind of my oil. And then I love, and Chef AJ knows I love this walnut champagne vinegar.
yeah. You sent me a couple of bottles. That's really good.
It's so delicious. 0 calories, and nothing in it. And it's so nutty. So I put a tablespoon of that in there. And then pomegranate molasses. Now, when you buy pomegranate molasses, it usually has a lot of sugar in it. You do not want a lot of sugar. This one has no sugar. It's by Al Wadi. Al Wadi. So I'm just putting a teaspoon and a half of that in here. And this is my salad dressing. It kind of tastes like balsamic vinegar. And that is this. I just blend this baby up. I can put this on. Okay. So now we have another pea in here, the pear. Okay, ready? Okay. This is such a delicious combination and so, so easy. I'm gonna put this in. It adds a little texture and just a little bit of the dressing is all you need because everything is so juicy here with the persimmons and the pomegranates. And you know, when you chew into it, it's just so wonderful with the pop of the pomegranate. I'm mixing all this
Edie,
together.
Mona, who's watching live, is asking what kind of vinegar that is. So maybe hold the bottle up again and tell us exactly where to get it, and I'll put it in the show notes in the chat.
Walnut champagne vinegar. And they're in Northern California, actually near San Francisco. And I called the guy and I said, I love this so much. And I wanted my dad to have some. So he sent some to my dad for a present. He just sent it. The guy is so nice at Sparrow Lane. They have pear vinegar. They have all different kinds of vinegars.
And it's not the thick and syrupy. So for people that avoid it because it's too sweet, for example, this is not a sweet, thick, syrupy reduced vinegar.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Okay, so I'm just getting all this in. And now, the last thing I want to add are some pistachios. So think about all the antioxidants in this and the protein. There's a lot of protein in the rice. Chef AJ, where's the protein? Where do you get your protein?
Haven't heard that one in the last 50 years.
It is the funniest thing. Everywhere I go, people ask that question. It is the funniest thing. I don't know. Anyway, we get plenty of protein. Dr. Clapper says, you know how you know if you have enough protein, you can actually stand up and walk into my office. That's how you know.
That's funny.
Okay, so we have all of that. And I'm going to put this in a beautiful bowl. People eat with their eyes first, right?
That's what I'm told.
Here it is. A beautiful salad. Black rice, pomegranates, pears, pistachios, all good. Should I taste it in front of everyone?
Absolutely. Is that what you're bringing to your house? I don't know if you're having holidays at your house or bringing that.
I am. I'm having a little New Year's Eve party. We don't do New Year's Eve, but we do New Year's Eve. And that way people can do whatever they want on their New Year's Eve party. So this is just a beautiful dish for everyone. I mean, carnivores and regular people, us alike. I'm calling us regular. It's very delicious. It's very, very nutty and fruity and beautiful. So that is my holiday dish for everyone.
Hey, you can call it the New Year's Eydie party.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I love that idea. You know, every time I make food that's healthy, all the carnivores eat. I have two sister-in-laws that I turned into plant-based sister-in-laws. And so when we have a family party, there's carnivores and then the three of us. And so I make plenty of food for us and then everything else for everybody else. And all the carnivores eat our food. So I have to make double for us because they eat our food. So I don't like to call it vegan or plant-based. I just like to call it whatever it's called. You know?
So
Um,
I met your sister-in-law at the Plantrician Project.
yes, you have such
Yeah.
a good memory.
Yeah, but you just still can't get your husband on board. It's
No, but he will eat a salad a day. And I love Ed so much. You know, people say, how can you be married to someone who doesn't eat like you? Because, you know, I just can't stand it's all about the food. So everywhere we go, my friends will say, oh, I know you're not going to have that. Or, you know, that it's like, I'm known for what I eat and as opposed to who I am. And, you know, we can't just think about what people eat. We just have to fill our hearts with love and just love who they are, you know, who that person is. And, you know, I know you love your husband, Charles, and I love my husband, Ed. Was Charles plant-based before y'all got married?
no, but I told him that if we were going to get married, that at least the house had to be vegan and the kids had to be vegan. But I mean, I mean, I didn't cook for him though. So I don't know. Do you cook for Ed, not
I
plant-based?
do.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. I think you need to stop and then he just eats what you make.
If I don't cook for him, he'll eat something not as healthy. Because, you know, when I cook, I make his healthy, you know, I don't put so much fat and sugar and, you know, I make it healthier as best I can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as long as it works for you, so that's the main thing.
I'm making it work for me because I love him so much.
Yeah.
He's so good. Such a kind-hearted man. He's kind of like my dad. Oh, I shouldn't say that, but when Ed and I went to Beaumont, Texas, where I'm from, my niece was getting bat mitzvah, and she asked us if the rabbi could do a blessing for us because we'd just gotten engaged. And so the rabbi says, would y'all like for me to do a blessing? And Ed says, we're already blessed. And I said, yeah, but go ahead and do a blessing. And then we were at the event after the Oneg Shabbat. And this woman who's an old friend of our family's, she's talking to me and dad. And she looks at dad and Ed's over there talking to someone else. And she looks at Ed and she looks at dad and she looks at Ed and she looks at me. She says, wow, Ed looks just like your father. I'm marrying my father. But they are both so charismatic and warm and loving and caring and just good men.
Nice. Well,
I really recommend marrying the right person.
absolutely.
Yeah, you don't want to. I saw too many red flags with all the other guys before, so you got to run. I always say, if you see a red flag, you better stay stag.
So what do you eat in a typical day?
Okay, so I will usually eat like a pound of fruit. I love fruit in the morning. Or sometimes I'll do like the medical medium thing and I'll have a big glass of lemon water. I try to do lemon water first thing and hydrate. And then wait a little while and do celery juice. And then sometimes I'll do that big wild blueberry smoothie that he has. It's so delicious. And then I know it sounds crazy, but after that, I'm still a little hungry. I don't know why later. So I might have an apple or an apple and a date or something like that. And then for lunch, I usually have a big salad, just a big raw salad with every color in it, you know. And I try to put some sprouts in there too because it's so healthy. And I just squeeze lemon on it. Or sometimes I don't even put dressing on it because it's got all the tomatoes and cucumbers and all the juicy stuff, celery, that I just love. I love it raw at lunch. And then at dinner, I usually have a lot of steamed vegetables and potato. And so I don't go to a whole lot of trouble for myself to cook, you know, these all very complicated meals or long list of ingredients because I just want to eat quickly. But sometimes when I'm cooking for people, I really love to create wonderful, beautiful dishes like this one. So beautiful, elegant to serve. We try to elevate the nutrition and make it elegant to eat at Garden of Eydie. So that's what we do. And, you know, I went to culinary school because my mom was this fabulous cook and she was it just came naturally to her. And she'd go to a restaurant and they'd taste something and then she'd come home and recreate it. And she said, it costs $25 at the restaurant. And here it only cost us $4. So she was so proud that we could save money by cooking our own food. But she romanced it. It was so romantic the way my mom cooked with food. And so it kind of was in me. I just wanted to do that. So I really do try to make beautiful, elegant, super healthy, recipes for everyone because I want everyone to be healthy.
Well, that's great. This culinary school you went to, where is it? Tell me about it, because I'm not sure if I'm familiar with that
Well,
one.
it was in New York City called the French Culinary Institute, and Jacques Pepin was one of the deans, and Alice Waters from California was a dean, and all these famous chefs. But now it's called International Culinary Center, so it's not just French culinary. So you won't find FCI anymore; it's ICC. Which darn, I wish it would have been like that when I was going to school, because to learn all the different types of cooking, Asian and Italian and French, and everything would have been a lot of fun. But it was supposed to be 11 months after work. I was going to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. or 5:30 to 11. And then I decided I just didn't want to be in the radio business anymore. So I quit, and then I went Monday through Friday all day long. So I instead of graduating in 11 months, it took me 8 months. So it was really great, but it's hard. It's not that easy to go through, especially at an older age in your 40s. It's a bunch of young kids, but I mean, they are working you hard and you are getting yelled at. And not always, but sometimes you get yelled at. And, they're just trying to make you tough in the kitchen. But I think kitchens are changing today. I was recently in New York City and I went to Daniel Hum's restaurant, the plant-based 11 Madison. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it, yes.
I called and I said, I want to meet the chef and I want to come. I'm going to come alone, but I want to meet the chef. I need to meet the chef, Daniel Hum. And he's incredible. Now, it's not the healthiest because he uses coconut oil and coconut butter and, salt. And I asked him if he could not add any extra salt and no extra oil, because they always add that and so they did. They made mine healthier. I ended up taking a friend. It's the most exquisite food. It's all plant-based. It is amazing. And I didn't get to meet the chef, but they did take me into the kitchen. And I got to see, it was such a quiet kitchen. No one's yelling. Everything's perfect. Everyone's so kind. Everyone knows so much. All the waiters knew everything about every dish. They even gave me a little booklet with what was in each ingredient in each dish. And it was very expensive though, $350.
Oh my
Very
gosh. I
expensive.
did contact them and because I
But
saw him on a documentary to see if he'd be on the show, but they never responded. But
oh, really?
that's
Oh,
just
he's so interesting. And his story is he was a three-star chef. And when he bought, I forgot the chef's name, he bought 11 Madison Park, or he didn't buy it, but he became the chef. And he wanted to be the number one. So we went to every restaurant with the best beef tender and the best tuna tartare and the best this and the best that. And he came back and he created even better food. So he had the best of everything. And within like a very few short years, he became a Michelin star chef. Then once that happened, the pandemic happened. And I hope I'm getting the story right, but it's close. Um, Everything was shut down, but he decided to use that building and asked the owner if he could use the building to feed underprivileged people in New York City, the food desert areas. And so he was cooking. He decided I might as well give them healthy food. So he started studying plant-based nutrition and plant-based food and decided, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I want to be a Michelin star plant-based chef. And within 2 years he was, or 3 years he was. That's how brilliant of a chef he is.
well, if you
So,
know him, ask him to come on the show because I remember did contacting them because I think he was on that documentary, the twin study, wasn't he?
oh, was he?
I thought so. I mean, I must have heard him
I hadn't
somewhere.
studied him yet. I did see that show. I don't remember. Maybe. He's amazing. That's all I can say. The food is exquisite and it's worth
Wow.
it.
But most people can't pay $350
No.
for one meal.
And he has a cookbook out, but boy, is that difficult because they do all sorts of modernist cuisine.
Is he plant-based himself?
I think he is. I think he's completely plant-based.
That,
And the
that,
chefs are all thin, and that's hard to find. They say never trust a skinny chef. I say never trust a fat one.
that's funny. That's
It's
funny.
it's true.
Do you exercise a lot?
Well, I'm kind of active all day long, but I do lift weights and yoga, a little bit of yoga, not like I used to. All my yoga places closed during the pandemic, and I don't love doing it online, but I do like to do the yoga poses because when I do the yoga, my whole body feels loose. And one thing, there's a lot of things that happened when I went plant-based, and I wonder for you too, Chef AJ, like I used to do yoga when I wasn't plant-based, and I was so inflexible. Like I had to work so hard, and I just was not flexible. Once I became plant-based, oh my goodness, my flexibility, I don't do yoga nearly as much as I did before, and I'm much more flexible now. And I think it's because, the meat has all the acid, it's acidic. So your body gets tighter. And when you eat all the hydrating foods, fruits, and vegetables, your body just moves more easily. So when I was recently on a trip and we were hiking up this really tough mountain, and I was going so fast, faster than everybody, just because I think we're light on our feet and we're juicy. We're juicy inside instead of dry. So plant-based diet does a lot for us.
Yep. Hey, there's a question from a live viewer, and they ask, how many days did you water fast at True North to get your blood pressure to 98 over 60? And do you do any coaching?
Okay, so I had Dr. Clapper as my doctor, and he wanted me to fast for 6 days. And Dr. Goldhammer said, you need 10 days. You need 10 days. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I'm like in between these two amazing doctors, but Dr. Clapper didn't want me to get too skinny. And Dr. Goldhammer just didn't care. He wanted me to get down. So it was day 8. And on day 8, I was really hungry. And I was just tired of drinking water. And I went to one of the sessions, and I forgot the doctor's name. It just escaped me. This woman, she was talking about how do you know when it's time to stop your fast? And she said, when you get to the point where you just can't drink any more water and you're starting to get hungry, that's when you quit. So that's what happened on day 8. So I went 8 days, and on day 9, I stopped. But my blood pressure was 135 over 85. So not heart attack proof. So Dr. Clapper said, don't worry about it. Just stay plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free. Dr. Goldhammer said, just give me 50 years, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free. So I did, and about 3 months later, I went to my doctor. I was scared to death, like, oh my God. And he was vegan. And he said, you're never going to be able to keep your blood pressure. You're going to have to go back on the pill. I'm telling you, nobody can do this. Well, they took my blood pressure. It was 98 over 60. I jumped for joy. And now every year I go, and it's about 98 over 60, 100 over 70. It depends on the day. But yeah, so that's I did 8 days. But Goldhammer would have had me do 10. And it probably would have come down then. But it worked out. It all worked out. And coaching, I don't really do one-on-one coaching, but if you ever need to ask me questions, you're welcome to contact me. Instagram or email or whatever. I'd be happy to help.
How long were you on the high blood pressure medicine for, and did it have any side effects?
I got on it when I was like 35 or 36. And then I stopped in how old was I? 40, I guess 48, something like that. So 30 years.
That
No,
long?
no, wait, I was on it from
Wait,
36. Yeah, about
I had no idea you were on it that long.
28 years. No, I stopped when I was 50. Okay, I stopped when I was like 55 or 56, something like that. So about 28 years I was on high blood pressure medicine. And I remember Ed and I were trying to get pregnant, and I was almost 46, and my eggs were pretty much poached, but we did that in vitro thing. And when I went in, it was supposed to take 8 days, I think, to create the embryos. And it took me 17 days, 17 on that terrible shots. And, Ed would have to give me a shot in my hip, and I gave myself a shot in my stomach, but Ed would have to give me a shot and then massage it in. So I called it S&M sex, because they won't let you have sex while you're getting all these chemicals in your body. Because if you did get pregnant, then your baby it might not be healthy for them. So I would do S&M sets for 18 years. Long story short, I went in to get the in vitro and they took my blood pressure and it was 200 over 100 on a pill for pregnancy, a blood pressure pill for pregnancy. And so they said, Eydie, you got to relax. You're too excited. Just deep breathe. So they came back 20 minutes later, 210 over 110. The Eydie, just relax. So they came back 220 over 120. And the doctor said, just send her in. She's just too excited. And I had like the biggest embryos. They were all rooting for me, all these nurse practitioners. You win. You're the oldest person here and you have the biggest embryos, a 12 and a 10 centimeter, whatever it was. Anyway, it didn't take. I don't think my body with that high blood pressure could handle the pregnancy. So it didn't work out. So, and then I moved to LA and I learned about plant-based nutrition. And now it's too late for me to get pregnant, but what if I could?
Maybe it's never too late.
I don't know. I'd be the oldest mother. Soccer games.
That is funny. But did you, a lot of people have such bad side effects on it. And it's amazing you stayed on it that long.
Well, I didn't do so well. I mean, like they had to keep changing it because, you know, of the exercise and I had a lot of women's issues. That's the other thing, like endometriosis, fibroids, you know, terrible periods. And I asked Dr. Clapper at the Plant Nutrition Project a few months ago. I said, I wanted to ask you this question. I think I know the answer. I had fibroids, endometriosis. I had humongous breasts, this whole thing. He says, dairy. I said, I knew it. That's what I knew. I knew it's from the dairy because I used to have, I didn't like milk, but I loved frozen yogurt and cheese and all that stuff. And if I knew then what I know now, you know the story.
Yep, absolutely. So you're going to make an alcohol-free version of rosé.
Yes, I am. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that you don't drink alcohol then.
So I don't remember how I came up with this, but I used to drink champagne and I love the dry brut rosé. I mean, rosé. And, but champagne didn't like me too much. So when I became plant-based and alcohol-free, I wanted to do something beautiful for the holidays and just delicious. So I came up with raspberries and strawberries for sweet rosé and raspberries for a drier taste rosé because raspberries usually aren't as sweet as strawberries. So what I did was I decided to get some red grapes. So I juiced red grapes and I juiced raspberries. And I have a recipe on the website and it really matters how juicy your raspberries are as to how much juice you're going to get. Grapes is usually about the same, but I had drier raspberries this time for some reason. And so when you look at the recipe online, just know it depends how juicy your raspberries are and how well your juicer works. So I use a Nama juicer for these. So what I do is do equal parts of raspberry juice and red grape juice. And this is the mixture for the rosé. It's really, really, it's really delicious. I was recently at this store here in Brentwood called Hudson Grace, and I did a pop-up, and I did mocktails for the pop-up. So this was one. I also did my Wine Not Cabernet, and that has wild blueberry juice, hibiscus tea, and a little honey. And it looks like red wine. It has legs. I served it when Dr. Clapper was here with a group of people for dinner, and they all loved it, and they were all like swirling it and tasting it like it was red wine. And it was delicious. They loved it. So what I like to do is get some sparkling water. And we're just going to mix these two together. So you put a little bit of the base, and then you add some bubbly. And this is how you make it. It's really, 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 really good.
Wow, that looks very festive.
I'll probably put a little bit too much bubbly in there. um, Chef AJ, I want to do something powerful right now if I can.
Absolutely.
So before we make a toast, is there any other questions you wanted to ask me or anybody else has?
Let me look, check the chats and the show notes. And no, just Deborah saying that she was diagnosed with high blood pressure at 27 and will be 61 next week. And she's been on the same medication all these years. I know it's genetic, but surely this should have been flagged. So do you think somebody that's been on that long could possibly get off or reduce their need for medication?
100%. My dad had congestive heart failure. He was on his pill since his 20s, and he went on a plant-based diet for 11 days. And I didn't know he was going to be so strict, but he did salt, oil, sugar free. He had to go to the hospital because his blood pressure for the first time in his life had gone normal, and he was still on a pill. So he should have had a doctor. I should have said, Dad, make sure the doctor's following you. But he was in his 80s, and he reversed his high blood pressure with 11 days on a plant-based diet. Believe it or not. But he had already had congestive heart failure and pacemaker and all sorts of stuff going on. So he died at 89, but he was on that pill for his whole life. And then my older brother had a triple heart attack while he was hiking. He hiked 10 miles a day, died, but came back. No brain damage or anything, but he's still on the pill, but it doesn't prevent. That's the problem. It doesn't prevent. So, but talk to Dr. Goldhammer. I mean, 100% of the people that go there and do the water only fast and then stay on the plant-based diet reverse their high blood pressure.
Yeah, it's worth a try.
Definitely. It's fun. It's so fun. And
Have
True
you
North
been
is
have you
not
been back to
worth
True
for me.
North at all?
What?
Have you been back to True North at all?
I did. I went back, and then I just talked to Dr. Goldhammer at the conference. I said, I can't get in. I want to go back and do another water fast, but like I can only do 3 days because now I get down to like 79 pounds or so. It's just,
Oh my God, that same here. 3 day has been my limit. I've tried every year. That's about my limit. And
yeah,
I can do a
that's,
few days of broth after that, but water 3 days has been my limit.
I know, isn't that weird? But maybe we
Yeah.
don't need it. Maybe we don't need it as much. I don't know. We don't
No, we
have that.
don't.
You don't have high blood pressure, do you?
Nope, I actually have low blood pressure, and I guess we just don't have the reserves.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Anything else?
Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions right now.
Okay, well, I want to do something. Here, bring this close. Okay, so here okay, that's good. A little bit high up towards you. I mean this. There. Okay. Little. Okay, there I am. Okay, so I'm thinking about you, Chef AJ, and
Aw,
I'm thinking about all of your subscribers. And everybody loves you so much, and you've done so much. I keep telling you that you are the matriarch of the plant-based world because you have inspired so many people, hundreds of thousands of people. And right now, I would love to do something with the entire audience. So if everyone will put their left hand on their heart and their right hand on top of their left hand. And you can close your eyes. And I want you to feel the love in your heart. Feel the love. Can you feel it? Feel the love in your heart. Most of us think with our brain, and that's what gets us all in trouble because it tells us lies. But when you go into the heart, what would love do? Feel love. And love is so healing. It's healing to you. It's healing to everyone around you. And it is a magnificent thing to come to your heart and feel the love. So everyone just close your eyes for a second and feel. Deep breaths and feel that love in your heart. Now, I want you to take that love from your heart and through your energy, send it to Chef AJ. Send so much love to Chef AJ, so much love that we all have for her. So much love because love is so healing. Now keep sending it and open your eyes and have a big smile on your face and just know you can do this for yourself. You can do this for others, for everyone that you see. Have compassion for yourself, compassion for others, and love heals. And now I'd like to make a toast to Chef AJ.
Well, thank you. That was beautiful. I sent the love to myself, actually, this way.
Yes. And you can give love to everyone else too, because that's healing too.
Yeah.
So everyone, let's toast to our health, to Chef AJ's health, and to the health of the world and the universe. And wishing everyone the best new year.
I don't have any rosé, but I'll use my water.
It's delicious. You're going to really like this. Very healthy, lots of antioxidants.
Did you ever think about writing a Garden of Eydie cookbook?
I am. I'm working on it now. I'm working on it now, and it's going to be recipes, but also more life lessons too. You know, just how I've learned the more I go to these Dr. Joe Dispenza retreats, and everything is about the heart-brain coherence.
Wait, did you say Dr. Joe Dispenza? Did you say Joe Dispenza?
Yes.
Everybody's telling me I should get into him. He has a retreat in LA, but it's sold out in January.
That's a short one. But I had learned about him in 2015, and he had shattered his back in a triathlon. Do you know the story?
Yeah, I actually saw him once in Pasadena. Louise Hay used to do this I Can Do It conference every year, and we'd have breakout sessions. And at the time, he had written a book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
That's it.
I haven't seen him, but I do listen to his meditations, and everybody's saying I need to get to one of his retreats.
Love it. I've been to several of his retreats, and what I get out of it more than anything is that he always says, "What would love do?" And you know, when someone's mean to you, then you say, wow, have compassion for them, because they must not be, you can't be mean to someone when you're so filled with love. And so when someone does something that hurts your feelings, I just send them love. I just have compassion for them. And just know, you know, unless I caused it, but you know, we don't cause it when you have so much love in your heart. You don't cause pain on others. You just send love.
Are you going to any of his retreats next year? And were you able to get oil-free vegan food at his retreats?
Yes, they serve vegan food, and I always ask no dressing. I just get lemons. And yeah, he's a very healthy eater. He really is a very healthy eater. And I know he used to love red wine, but I don't think he drinks that much because he meditates so much. But you know, he healed his shattered back. He shattered his back when he was in the biking section of the triathlon. He was 26, and every doctor he went to said, you're going to have a steel beam put in. You know, you just have to deal with it. You're never going to be able to run or do. And he decided he was going to try to heal his spine with his brain. He was a chiropractor, and he was a meditation sort of a guy, a Buddhist sort of a guy. He was into all that. And he went to a friend's house, and he lay on his stomach because he couldn't lay on his back. And every day, all day, he rebuilt his spine in his mind. And he said if he couldn't get through without getting upset or hurting or whatever, he'd start all over, until it might take him all day long to get through his spine. And as time went on, he kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And after about 8 weeks, he was able to stand up. And 12 weeks later, he was back in the gym. He totally healed his spine with his mind. And he said if he could do it, he was going to spend the rest of his life understanding the mind-body connection and help transform the world. And he has done that. He's such a wonderful human being.
Did you actually get to meet him?
I did. I support his encephalon. It's neuroscience. He hooks everyone, not everyone, people can hook their brain up at these retreats, and they can tell at what level your meditation is. So, you know, and he says there's no such thing as a bad meditation, that's good news. Because sometimes you feel things and it's like you have near-death experiences or whatever. Some people's bodies move. People heal from all sorts of things. Like I've seen people who can't walk, they're in a wheelchair, they're walking at the end of 7 days. I mean, there's a lot of miracle stories with him. And we do these, and that's what I did the love with the hands, because we do these healing circles and we heal people. And it really, a lot of people do get healed. Some need more than others. It's all in how much you practice and how the mind-body connection, but it's all from the heart. Everything he talks about is heart, heart, love, love, and I've had some really beautiful, fun meditations at his retreats. There's so much energy in the room that they can tell how much energy is in the room. There's so much energy, and it's pretty magical. It's very magical. I'm going in April to Dallas for 7 days.
Wow. Is there room in that one? Maybe I'll join you.
I think there is. It'd be great. It'd be fun to do it together.
That would be so cool. Do you meditate every day now?
Almost every day. Yes. I try to find time. What's great with Dr. Joe, once you take the progressive course, which you can do that online, then you can go to advanced. And there are these groups on WhatsApp that you can join their group in the morning and listen to his meditations for free. They put it all together with the breath work and with the meditation. And I like to buy them, because I want to listen to whatever I want to listen to when I'm out of town. And I love his body electric. I mean, you sit, he does all sorts of meditations, sitting, walking, lying down, and standing. And he wants you to be able to take like yoga off the mat, your meditation off the meditation mat, because you want to be able to live this way all day long. Break the habit of being yourself. We tell ourselves lies. Just be love. Be love. So there's a lot of ways to get involved with him without going to the retreats, but if you can, they can be kind of expensive because you pay for the hotel room and stuff. But you can do it without going to the retreats. But the retreats are pretty darn special.
Well, are you in his membership, his monthly or annual membership?
I am, and I always miss them because they're always at the wrong time for me. But you can go back and listen to his speeches. But he's online a lot. He's interviewed a lot. You can look on YouTube and see his interviews. And he's an incredible, his manifestations, what he's been able to do. I don't know. He's something else. He's inspiring.
Well, you seem like a very happy and positive person. Were you always this way?
I think I have always been like this. I'm kind of bubbly.
Well, this is interesting, Eydie. There are a few viewers on Instagram that are talking about having had high blood pressure for a while, some on medication, some not. And one of them is saying, but I haven't stuck to the no oil and no salt. Could that be the problem?
Okay, I got to tell you this story real quick. So I was introduced to a coach who's doing the plant-based coaching, and she's just starting out. So she said her husband's plant-based, but he cannot get his blood pressure down. It's still like 145 over 110 or something. And he's been plant-based for like 2 years. I said, well, what do y'all eat? She says, well, we'll saute some vegetables, roast some vegetables with oil and, a little salt. And we try to not do much salt. And he has, nuts and all this. I said, okay, for 1 week, just for 1 week, take out the oil, take out the salt, maybe have a quarter of an avocado a day, have maybe 2 tablespoons or 2 ounces of nuts. That's it a day, just for 1 week. No oil, just steam your vegetables, just no oil, no salt. And she did it. She called me like 8 days or 10 days later. She said it dropped to like 110 over 70 in 1 week.
Amazing. Well,
so it's the fat. And what happens is we know all of this, but our blood vessels are lined with endothelial cells. I'm going to give you the fourth grade education on this. And endothelial cells give off nitric oxide. And our fast-moving blood picks up that nitric oxide, takes it to all of our tissue cells and organs, and regenerates them. And then the liver detoxifies it, and the heart pulls the blood up from the liver to make it pump. But if that blood is thick with fat, then what happens is the nitric oxide dies. It doesn't get to the cells, tissues, and organs. And then your heart has to pull up that blood, that thick blood from your liver. It's like in a tiny little straws. It's hard. And that's what makes the heart rate go up. So it's the fat. It's too much fat in our diet.
Yeah, and I'm sure the salt it contributes too. Dr.
Yeah, the
Goldhammer is
salt.
doing a bunch of studies
Absolutely.
with Kaiser Permanente on water fasting and the SOS-free diet for people with high blood pressure. And
It's so funny because now if I go to a restaurant and they put oil on something, it just doesn't taste good anymore. I don't know. You can taste the fry part of it, which is acrylamides, and I don't know. It just when you change the way you eat, you really love the real food. It's so delicious. The fruits, the vegetables. I mean, you really taste it, and it's just I don't know. I love it. I just love eating this way.
yeah. So one of the viewers is saying, I'm plant-based, oil and alcohol-free, and low salt. My blood pressure sometimes is 135 over 80, but when I take it 3 times, I can get it to 125. But I have huge stress in my life. Is that a problem?
It is. It is, and I'm guilty of it too. And my husband, who is overweight, he's like this. He's Mr. And he works on huge deals. And you would think he has a lot of stress, but every day he walks 6 miles and 5 or 6 miles. 3 times a week he gets a massage. And he's with friends. And he always says when there's an issue, there's always a way around it, over it, under it, or through it. There's always a solution. And he just doesn't get stressed out. He just goes towards the solution. And he's like my muse. I wish I could be like him because he always says, "Don't worry." I said, "I'm not worried." He said, "You are worried." And it's true, the stress. We have to go back to what would love do. Again, what would love do? We have to love ourselves too. We really have to take care of ourselves. Really important. And the minute we get upset about something, one thing I've learned how to do when I was in the 6th grade, I remember I woke up and I said to my dad, "I'm in a bad mood. I don't feel like going to school." And he says, "Oh, really?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, you know, life is all about your attitude. If you have a good attitude, you'll have a great life. If you don't, well, it's totally up to you." And I took that to heart and I went into the mirror and I looked in the mirror and I said, "You're in a bad mood." I just started cracking up at myself like, what a weird thing for someone to do, to look at themselves in the mirror and say, "You're in a bad." And I started laughing. And I mean, I immediately got into a good mood and I had a great day. And from that moment on, I've learned when I do get in this bad, either Ed's going to remind me or I remind myself, "Come on, Eydie, what's the opposite way of looking at this thing?" Like, "Oh, I'm so worried about this." Say, "No, what's the opposite? What great thing is happening in our lives?" That gratitude thing. Everyone talks about gratitude. It really does work. Like, go to what you're happy about, not what you're not happy about. Because if you focus, what you focus on is what you manifest. So if you focus on things that stress you out, you're going to get more of that. But if you focus on everything wonderful that you have, your life, your health, that beautiful tree in the front of your house, your garden, if you have one, just your friends, your best friends, your kids, whatever you have that makes you happy, let's just go to that. And I think that can really help with the stress.
Nice. David says, well, is olive oil acceptable?
You know, First of all, to get good olive oil is hard because they usually put canola oil and stuff like that in it, which is not healthy. But, Chef AJ, what's your answer to that?
Well, I mean, I think it depends what a person's goal is, acceptable for what. I'm sure it's much better for somebody than eating, butter. But if your goal is weight loss, for sure, it's very calorically dense at 4,000 calories per pound. And if your goal is reversing heart disease, you might want to check out the work of either Dr. Dean Ornish or Dr. Caldwell B. Esselstyn and understand why it might play a role. I
Right.
mean, it is controversial. Some of the plant-based doctors really promote it. But I know from the experience of somebody that used to weigh 80 pounds more that it's 4,000 calories per pound. It has no
It's
fiber.
120 calories a tablespoon. So if
Yeah.
you're having a salad and it has 3 tablespoons, you've already got 360 extra calories. And then you have your sauteed vegetables. And then before you know it, you're eating a lot of fat and it thickens the blood. So if you have high blood pressure or type 2 diabetes or any kind of health opportunity, you might want to be careful with that. But a lot of people don't have any problems, so they can do it.
Yep. Well, you know, the other thing is my feeling as the author of a book called Unprocessed that it's better to always eat the whole food. So eat the olive, not the olive oil. Then you have the fiber and all the nutrients, you know, that kind of thing. Eat the flaxseed, not the flaxseed oil. Eat the avocado, not the avocado oil.
You can put olive oil on your body. That's okay.
Absolutely. What is Dr. Joe's last name? Dispenza. I think it's Dispenza.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so great that you're into him. A lot of people
Hey,
have
we should
told
get a
me.
percentage.
Well, a lot of people are saying you know, it's interesting though. I looked him up and he and I have the same birthday.
Oh, that he's March 22nd
Yeah, I looked it up and yeah,
and
so
I'm March 21st. That's
yeah,
funny.
well, we can all celebrate in
We
Dallas
should.
together. Yeah.
He lives
Yeah.
in Southern California, I think, right now.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's where I saw him was in Pasadena. So that's really cool. Let's see if there's any more questions for you. Have you ever asked your husband just to like do this just for a week, just to see if he likes it or if he feels any different or loses weight or
For a day.
he won't even do it for a day, huh?
But he does. He'll eat a big salad now every day. At least he's doing that. I put orange juice and lime juice on it and a little low sodium tamari, and he loves it. Or sometimes just orange juice and lime juice, and he
But
eats it all up.
it's not hard for you as I mean, as somebody who's plant-based. I mean, I'm not trying to say this to be judgy. I'm just saying like I can't even give my dog meat. I mean, she eats meat, but I can't be like I can't do it.
I understand it.
Yeah.
Again, I'm tweaking the brain, you know. I'm just putting love into everything I do, and I make it as healthy as possible. You know, you can make it a really unhealthy carnivore dish, animal dish, or you can make it healthier. So, and then I always serve lots of vegetables with it and all that good stuff.
Nice.
Salad.
Nice. Do either of you have a sweet tooth or do you just have fruit?
I do not, except for fruit. And Ed's not really a big sweet. He likes my chocolate chip cookies. I created the most delicious chocolate chip cookie right outside of the French when I finished my culinary school because he loved chocolate chip cookies, but I did create the most delicious. But isn't that funny? I just have no desire for it. But he says, when are you gonna make me chocolate chip cookies? So it's like once a year.
What do you sweeten them with?
Well, I put in 3 different types of chocolate. I do the dark chocolate, I do milk chocolate, and this gianduja, which is kind of like a hazelnut. And then I do toasted pecans and salted butter. And I mean, all the bad stuff.
Oh, I
And
thought you made a healthy chocolate chip
oh,
cookie.
that I do not have a healthy chocolate chip.
Okay.
You know
All
what's
right. I
funny? I don't
misunderstood.
even like chocolate anymore. I just don't like chocolate anymore. Do you?
I like it, but I haven't eaten it since 2010 because I found out that was the reason I was getting migraines, something about the histamine or something. So I eat carob now.
Oh. I just don't have, I do have a dried cranberry um, oatmeal cookie that I made, and it's really healthy. It has almond butter in it, but that's like but it's really, really, even Ed likes it. It's Test Ed, and he likes it. So I do have some Test Ed recipes on my website. So if Ed likes it, everyone will like it.
Well, that's good. Well, you should have made that cookie.
Ah, next time. It's on the website.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you are just delightful. You have such a positive, loving attitude, and I'm so excited that you have maintained your normal blood pressure for all these years using a healthy plant-based diet.
And I want everybody to be good to themselves this holiday season.
So where can people find you?
Garden of Eydie, EYDIE.com. That's my website. I'm on Instagram at Garden of Eydie, EYDIE, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube.
Nice. Thank you so much, Edie.
Chef AJ, thank you. And we're all sending you love and good
Well,
luck tomorrow.
oh, thank you so much. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ and Friends. Please come back Friday at 11 o'clock for The Doctor is In. It's a Q&A with Dr. Ron Weiss. So be sure to go to chefaj.com so you can send in your questions. Take care, everyone. Bye,
Hi,
Edie.
everybody. Thank you.